Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the meeting. I wanted to make a couple quick announcements before we begin. The comment period will be open via email or phone until August 12th. Also, we have noticed that there may be a different experience. Oh, just lost my... They might have a different experience if you're using headphones or listening on a different device. So for an optimal experience, we suggest you use headphones or earbuds. And without further ado, we're going to start our presentation. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual public informational meeting for State Project 34351. My name is Mike Cherpak, and I serve as the design project manager for this proposal. I hope everyone is staying healthy and staying safe. We appreciate your willingness and flexibility to attend this meeting in this venue, and please bear with us. Tonight's presentation is our first public meeting that's held in this virtual forum. Before we get going, I'd like to go over some of tonight's goals. First, I'll introduce you to the design team. That'll include front office leadership and designers. Next, I'd like to go over this virtual platform and how you'll be able to interact with the design team, ask questions, and get answers. The designers will provide a formal presentation that'll provide some background on the project location. It'll define the purpose and need of the project, and they'll go over the design plans, which, keep in mind, are only about 30% complete. And your comments tonight will shape how this project progresses. And lastly, we have a live question and answer session. There'll be more on this later. I mentioned earlier introducing the project team. We've been in regular communication with the City of Danbury. So before we go any further, I'd like to introduce Mayor Boughton.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me, everybody?
Yep, we got you, Mayor. Great.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank the state DOT, their terrific engineers, who frankly put up with a lot of, I'm not going to say aggravation because it's their job and they love their jobs, but definitely a lot of challenges. And whether it's managing public, managing the construction aspects, or in general trying to put all the pieces together, they have done, I think, an outstanding job, particularly in the greater Danbury area, as we've noticed significant improvements both in the North Street corridor, now over on Route 6, Newtown Road area, with more to come out there, and some other in the Route 37, which is basically getting finished and buttoned up pretty soon. And of course, our long-term project of the widening of Route 84. But tonight we're here to talk a little bit about some of the work to be done on what we know is Clafford Ridge Road in front of Danbury High School at both entrances and exits. And I just want to impart upon the team and upon anybody listening that this is much needed work for the city, but most importantly for our students as our building has continued to grow. We've added a $60 million freshman academy there. We anticipate adding another several hundred students within that building above where we are now. We're at about 3,400 right now as we continue to build out our population over the next 10 years. And because of that, we've got a building traffic that's happening there, stacking that goes on, some confusion about queues and where to get off and get on, no matter how hard our staff and our high school staff work. It's difficult once you get out to the state road to be able to manage that traffic flow. So the fact that they've partnered with the city, they've worked on this project, continue to work on it, and have put it up for construction, assuming funding is available in 2022, is really important because it's so needed and it is so critical for being able to move students around our city. So just want to tip my Danbury hat to the design team. I know you're only 30% done, but you'll be there. And certainly we look forward to these much needed improvements. And I look forward to participating in future public information sessions on an as-needed basis to interface with our residents and let them know how important this is. So great job. And this is a kickoff, and let's have a terrific project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the kind words. It's been a pleasure working with you and your team. Other members of the design team are shown here. Myself, Mike Turpak, in the middle of the screen, will serve as the design project manager. Our highway leadership group, consisting of my principal engineer, Matt Vale, and unit manager, James Fallon. Other presenters tonight will include project engineer, Andrew Correa, and designer, Richard Franklin. Also with us tonight is Jason Boyce from the Office of Rights-of-Way. Jason is here tonight to provide a brief presentation on the right-of-way process and answer any related questions. There will be 3 ways to communicate and interact with the design team: project email, phone, and MS Live event chat. This way, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns during or after the meeting, you've got a way to get a hold of us. We'll do our best to respond as quickly as we can. The project email is dotproject034-0351@ct.gov. And the phone number to leave us a voicemail is 860-944-1111. All of your questions, comments, and concerns, and hopefully some of your support, will be logged into the MS Teams live event chat. Meaning if you call in and leave us a voicemail or send us an email, we will transcribe that call into the event chat and read it out aloud. Also, an answer will probably follow. For those of you using the MS Teams live event to view this meeting tonight, I hope you can find the question and answer area in the dialog box, which looks much like the graphic shown below. One last housekeeping note. The department strives to achieve a fair, balanced, and thorough approach to its public outreach. We're always looking for ways to improve. And therefore, we encourage you to visit the project website and take our demographic survey. And now I'd like to introduce Andrew Correa, project engineer.
Thank you, Michael, for that introduction. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Andrew Correa. I'm a project engineer at the Connecticut Department of Transportation, and I am the project engineer for State Project 34351. Again, that's the intersection improvements on Route 39, also known as Clapboard Ridge Road, at Eastgate Road and Beckerle Street in the city of Danbury. And today I'll be presenting some existing conditions and the project purpose and need. Then it'll be followed by Richard Franklin. He'll be going over the proposed design that we have. And then Jason Boyce will be going over the rights-of-way process. And then I'll go back to Richard Franklin to finish out the presentation to go over the project schedule and estimated costs. To begin, we'll start with an aerial overview of the city of Danbury. The project location is approximately located in the red circle highlighted here. The project is located to the north of Route 84 and to the northwest of the city center itself. Continuing on, we have a zoomed in aerial of the approximate project location. To orient yourself in the slide, north is the top of the slide, south is the bottom, and west and east are left and right respectively. The project itself is highlighted by the yellow line running down Route 39. With both of the intersections, we're proposing improvements highlighted in red circles: Eastgate Road to the north and Beckerle Street to the south. The total project length is about 3,700 feet, the project starting a little north of Eastgate Road and then continuing further south beyond Beckerle Street and even further south beyond Farm Street. Route 39 is classified as a minor urban arterial, which means the road can accommodate local bus routes, lower speeds and shorter trips for vehicles, lower vehicle volume, and provide access to residential areas that larger roadways in the area cannot. The posted speed limit for the Route 39 is 35 miles an hour. And if you notice, the project itself is located adjacent to Danbury High School, with both Eastgate Road and Beckerle Street providing main access points to northern and southern parking lots for the high school. Next, in these next few slides, I'll be showing a few pictures of existing conditions and going over what they can tell us about the intersections themselves. To start, we're at the northern intersection, which is Eastgate Road. Here, this photo is taken on Route 39 facing southbound with Eastgate Road to the adjacent left. From here, you can see on the right hand off the edge of road, there's evidence of traffic bypass beyond the edge of road, usually due to people waiting to make left-hand turns at the intersection and people bypassing to go through the intersection itself, meaning they'll run off the road, off the shoulder to continue on further southbound. Now we have the opposite direction on Route 39, looking to the north with Eastgate Road to the right. As you can see on the left of the slide, we have deteriorating pavement on the southbound direction. And in the northbound direction, we have a lot of trees and branches that are immediately adjacent to the roadway. Continuing on to another view of the intersection, we are now on Eastgate Road looking up towards Route 39. As you can see towards the left hand of the intersection highlighted by the red shape, these are the trees I was talking about previously in the northbound direction of Route 39. As it is now, these trees inhibit the driver's ability, once coming up to the intersection, to look down Route 39 to make a safe right turn. This is what we call a limit on the intersection sight distance, hence why there is a no turn on red for this intersection, as the driver must come to a full stop and travel on Route 39 must stop before they can safely turn right. Now finally, one more view for this intersection. This is at Route 39, now looking down Eastgate Road, with the north and south on the left and right, respectively. As you can see, there's deteriorated pavement in the roadway of Route 39 itself, as well as rolling into Eastgate Road. Continuing to the south, we are now at Beckerle Street intersection. We're on Route 39, facing south, with Beckerle Street to the left. As with the previous intersection, we can see deteriorating pavement in the roadway of Route 39. For this intersection, we notice stone walls and close frontages of yards, which make this a narrow corridor for the roadway. Now, from the opposite direction, we're on Route 39 looking north of Beckerle Street to our right. We again see the narrowness of the roadway corridor coming through the intersection. Continuing on for this intersection, we are now on Beckerle Street, looking up towards Route 39. As with the other intersection, we have vegetation that limits the driver's ability to look up and down Route 39, as well as adjacent residential properties that make this roadway narrow. As with the other intersection, there is a no turn on red sign for this due to the narrowness of Route 39 and the limits placed on the driver to safely look before turning. Now finally for this intersection, we are now back on Route 39, looking down Beckerle Street. As you can see, this shows another example of deteriorating pavement on Route 39, but it also highlights the steep grade of Beckerle Street going down. This also limits a driver's perspective when looking up and down Route 39 for turning. Moving on from the existing conditions on the intersections, I'm going to be explaining the project purpose and need, and also discussing the original project initiation. On the right-hand side is a memo dated June 3rd, 2016. This is from the Office of State Traffic Administration about their completion of a traffic investigation report. This traffic investigation report analyzed the improvements and modifications that were being done on the Danbury High School and what effects they would have on traffic along Route 39. The reason this traffic investigation report was completed is in due with a state statute, as you can see highlighted in red, that the city would need for a certificate to be certified from the Office of State Traffic Administration. Now, with their findings in this investigation report, there was findings of increase in demand and volumes at both of these intersections. So there were 14 conditions that the report laid out that the city needed to complete in order to receive their certificate to continue with the expansion of the Danbury High School. 11 of these conditions the city have or have met, and 3 of them the state took responsibility of. Those are highlighted in red now, and they are that a left turn treatment be provided on the southbound Route 39 at Eastgate Road, and that a left turn treatment be provided on southbound Route 39 at Beckerle Street, and that the pedestrian amenities at the crosswalk in the vicinity of Route 39 at Field Road be brought up to current ADA standards. So this was originally why the project was initiated. Now, from there, when it came to our office and the Connecticut Department of Transportation, we looked into it a little more. Beyond this, we looked at crash history, we looked at existing conditions, as you saw in the pictures before. So we finally came upon this project purpose, which is not only to fulfill the conditions in this traffic investigation report, but was also to provide safety and operational improvements that will address the increase in left turn movements associated with the expansion of Danbury High School on Route 39 at Beckerle Street and Eastgate Road. As I mentioned in the previous slide, we analyzed crash histories while investigating project purpose and need. To do this, we create crash diagrams over time frames by utilizing police reports for a given area. What you see in front of you is the crash diagram for Route 39 and Eastgate Road for the time frame of January 2015 to December 2019. North is the top of the slide, south is the bottom of the slide, but west and east being left and right, respectively. On the left side of the slide, you'll see injuries due to severity. This is a breakdown of the injuries given the time frame, with fatal being a fatality, A being a major injury, B being a minor injury, and C being cuts and bruises. On the right hand of the slide, you can see a breakdown of the total number of crashes based on the type of crash, and the breakdown of total number of injuries based on the type of crash. Now for this intersection, there was a total of 21 crashes and 7 injuries over the time frame. Now while analyzing these crash diagrams, we look for patterns given to the intersection and to the roadway to see what we need to do to improve. For this intersection, 2 areas of patterns showed themselves, now highlighted by the yellow circles. The larger yellow circle is southbound travel coming into the intersection. Rear ends and multiple rear ends are seen here are most likely due to a timing issue with the left turns and bypassing traffic coming through. On the northbound direction in the smaller circle, these rear ends and multiple rear ends kind of skewed themselves and were being a little too much for what was given of the volumes coming in and out of the intersection. Seeing this odd pattern of crashes in the northbound direction caused for further investigation. Once out in the field and examining existing conditions, we were able to conclude that tree and vegetation immediately adjacent to the northbound travel lane hindered the stopping and intersection sightlines. As you can see highlighted in red in the bottom picture, this vegetation hinders a driver's ability to see the upcoming traffic signal. Looking at the left-hand picture, the camera is where this photo was taken from. The driver should be able to see the signal, but they're not able to due to the vegetation. To show what I mean by a driver's perspective to see coming into the intersection being hindered by the trees and vegetation, there's a short video clip in this slide. This is a car driving at the posted speed limit coming up to the intersection. Now, as the driver is coming up to the intersection, the driver's perspective does not expect a traffic signal to come out so quick from the inside of the curve. Now again, I'll show the video to exemplify this. Breaking down the video further into the points of where stopping sight distance is needed, the top picture shows the position of a car where the standard stopping sight distance should be. As you can see as a driver, you cannot see the traffic signal head due to the vegetation highlighted in red. On the bottom picture, it shows the actual point when a driver can see the signal head. This is actually only good for a speed of 32 miles an hour. We will be addressing this with proposed tree clearing to alleviate the issue. Now continuing on to the southern intersection, as with Eastgate Road and Route 39's crash diagram, this one mirrors it as it is the crash diagram of Route 39 and Beckerle Street. Again, north is the top of the slide, south is the bottom of the slide, and west and east is left and right respectively. These crashes were taken from police reports in the same time frame of January 2015 to December 2019. Again, injuries due to severity, their totals are located on the left-hand side of the screen, and totals of crashes and totals of injuries based on types of crashes is on the right-hand side. For this intersection, there was a total of 28 crashes and 8 total injuries. Similarly to Eastgate Road and Route 39, Beckerle Street and Route 39 had a pattern of rear end and multiple rear end crashes on the southbound direction heading into the intersection. This could be attributed to the left turn lanes and people trying to bypass traffic, but due to the narrowness of the roadway, these crashes could occur. One large difference between the two intersections was there was a fatality at this intersection. Now, this fatality was due to, as you can see in this diagram provided by the police report, a left turn vehicle, that is vehicle 2, turning left onto Beckerle Street, had a collision with vehicle 1 traveling in the northbound direction on Route 39. Now, we propose some safety improvements for both of these intersections, and I'll be handing off the presentation to Richard Franklin, and he will go over what we plan to accomplish.
Thanks, Andrew. I'd like to start by saying I hope everyone is having a great evening, and thanks again for joining us. My name is Rich Franklin with the Connecticut Department of Transportation, and I'm the lead designer for this project. I'm going to bring us through the proposed design portion of this presentation. I'd like to reiterate that our design is at the 30% design phase, meaning we are 30% of the way towards final design. Due to this, the project design is subject to change between now and final design. On your screen, you can see another overview of the project location. This time we are oriented differently. As you look left across the screen, that is traveling north, and as you look right, that is traveling south. Here's an overview of our proposed plan for the project. We will be taking a close look at each section of the project a little bit later in the presentation. This is what we like to call a color plan. Each color indicates a different element within the project design. The light gray is the roadway, the yellow hatch is proposed widening, the light green are fill slopes, the brown are cut slopes, and the dark gray are driveways. On this slide, we can see everything we're looking to accomplish within the scope of this project. We're going to be proposing new traffic signals at Eastgate Road and Beckerle Street, 11-foot dedicated turn lanes at Eastgate Road and Beckerle Street, 11-foot travel lanes throughout the project corridor, resurfacing all of Route 39 within the project limits, tree clearing to improve sightlines, upgrading all crosswalks and sidewalk ramps to ADA standards, but we are not proposing sidewalks due to limited state-owned right-of-way, as well as the lack of existing sidewalks along Route 39. We're also proposing new catch basin tops and catch basin offsets where necessary. Here we have our color plan once again. This time we're focused into the Eastgate Road intersection portion of the project, and this is the intersection north of Danbury High School. The main change we're proposing to this intersection would be the introduction of a dedicated left turn lane. We're also proposing new traffic signals to bring this intersection up to date and to accommodate our new intersection layout. Along with the traffic signal, new pedestrian amenities are being proposed that meet Americans with Disabilities Act standards, which I will be referring to as ADA for short. Notice the yellow shaded region. This is where we are proposing widening and full-depth roadway reconstruction to fit the new turn lane. There will be about 4 to 5 feet of widening on the northbound side and about a foot of widening on the southbound side. There is less widening being proposed on the southbound side to avoid impacting a large stone wall. There will also be some driveway reconstruction in the area in order to bring these driveways up to state standards. Here's a rendering of what the intersection might look like when construction is completed. Notice the 11-foot turn lane and travel lane with a 2-foot shoulder. This is the narrowest shoulder within the project to avoid impacting that wall to the right, which I mentioned previously. The standard shoulder width within the project is at least 4 feet. It is important to add that these left turn lanes improve the safety of the intersection by giving users a protected left turn phase. This intention is to avoid possible crash scenarios like the one Andrew Correa previously presented about that resulted in a fatal injury. Andrew also showed there was evidence of drivers traveling off the right side of the roadway to pass vehicles waiting to turn left. Having a dedicated turn lane and travel lane will mitigate that issue as well. Now we'll take a closer look at the Beckerle Street intersection portion of this project. It is very similar in design to the Eastgate Road intersection and introduces a new dedicated left turn lane. Again, we're proposing new traffic signals and pedestrian amenities. At this intersection, the majority of the widening is being proposed on the southbound side. This is due to limited state-owned property on the northbound side, and there are several stone walls adjacent to the roadway, which we want to avoid impacting. The widening on the southbound side ranges from about 5 to 7 feet. At this intersection, you can see there is a significant brown shaded region on the southbound side, which is a cut slope. This is when we'll be cutting into the slope to provide smooth grading on the properties being affected by the roadway widening. Note that the cut slopes are indicated in brown, but all properties that are affected by this project will be receiving new grass. The properties adjacent to the roadway here are steep, so we will have to do a little bit more work to provide that smooth grading I mentioned. There will also be more driveway work in this area than at the Eastgate Road intersection due to the steepness of the driveways. This is because we want to provide driveways that do not exceed the maximum grade recommended by the state. Here's a rendering of what the intersection might look like once completed. Again, notice 11-foot turn lanes and travel lanes with the standard 4-foot shoulder here. You can see the brown cut slope again, but reminder, the grass will be provided on every property that is affected. As mentioned previously in this presentation, one of the requirements from the OSTA agreement with the City of Danbury was to upgrade the pedestrian amenities along Route 39 at Field Road to meet ADA standards. In these pictures, you can see the existing sidewalk ramp and crosswalk at the front of Danbury High School across from Field Road. Our proposed design replaces this ramp with an ADA compliant ramp like the one on the drawing in the lower right side of your screen. A new crosswalk will be put into place as well. Next, let's talk about utility work. We're anticipating relocation of 6 utility poles near the Beckerle Street intersection. These poles are the red dots circled by the larger yellow circles on the color plan on your screen. The reason for relocation is that they are located within the proposed roadway footprint, so they will be moved beyond the proposed edge of road while still being placed within the state right-of-way. And at this point, I would like to hand the presentation off to our rights-of-way coordinator, Jason Boyce, so he can explain a little bit about the rights-of-way process.
Thanks, Rich. As Rich mentioned, my name is Jason Boyce. I'm a project coordinator for the department's Division of Rights-of-Way. Rights-of-Way's purpose is to acquire all the property rights necessary for the project. All property rights will be acquired in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes Sections 13A73 and 13A98E and the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Properties Acquisition Act of 1970 as amended. Anticipated property impacts on this project consist of sightline easements and slope easements. Now, of course, those are subject to change as the design progresses. So, the right-of-way acquisition process. First, each property owner will receive a letter of intent to acquire. This kicks off the right-of-way process and is often the property owner's first involvement with the right-of-way office. From there, evaluation will occur. The department determines the fair market value of the impacts to the property to establish an offer of just compensation. Once evaluation is complete, an offer letter will be drafted. The owner will receive a written offer letter from the department based on that valuation. And that's when negotiations will occur. The owner is given a reasonable amount of time to consider the state's offer and enter into negotiations. At the completion of negotiations, an acquisition will occur. An acquisition can occur in one of two ways. One, an agreement can be reached and then an abbreviated real estate closing will occur. The state prepares all the documentation and pays all the recording costs associated with the closing. If negotiations reach an impasse, the Commissioner of Transportation has the authority to acquire property rights through eminent domain. Now, eminent domain does not preclude the owner from continuing negotiations with the state. Owners are still entitled to the state's offer, the funds are deposited into the court, and the owner can petition for withdrawal at any time. Once funds are deposited into the court, they are out of control of the DOT, and depending on the encumbrances associated with the property, the withdrawal process can take some time. Now, the owner has 6 months from the date of condemnation to file an appeal with the court if continued negotiations cannot reach an agreement. Additionally, the state only acquires what is necessary for the project. All right-of-way acquisitions must be acquired by the design completion date. Current schedule has a design completion date as October 20th, 2021. Therefore, all negotiations and closings would have to be complete prior to that date. Now, turn it back over to Rich to go over the project costs and schedule.
Thanks, Jason. To finish off our formal presentation, I'm going to cover project cost and schedule. We are looking at a total construction cost of about $4.1 million, with 80% being covered by federal funds and 20% being covered by state funds. And we are looking to begin construction in the spring of 2022. And with that, I would like to thank you all for listening to our presentation, and I'm going to hand it off to our project manager, Michael Chirpek, to begin the live question and answer portion of our public info meeting.
Thanks, Rich. So that concludes our presentation. Again, this meeting is been recorded and it can be accessed on the project website. I'll just read the project website out to everyone so anyone listening on the phone can hear it. It's http://portal/portal/PORTdanbury34-351. Please check the project website to participate in the survey pertaining to tonight's event, ask additional questions, or view project plans and information. For those of you listening in on the phone, the project website is again portal.ct.gov/DOT Danbury 34-351. So kind of with that, we're going to enter the live question and answer session. We'll take as many questions as we can. We'll be here till about 9 o'clock. Feel free to use the chat feature to call in on the number. The number again is 860-944-1111, or the email address. It's dotproject0034-0351@ct.gov. Comment period again is open until August 12th. And so I guess we'll see what we have for comments. Okay, looks like we got an email question. Will the project construction affect school hours? Great question. The project being in such close proximity to the high school, obviously, we're going to take that into consideration. Typically, jobs like this, which are in residential areas, we try to do that work during the day, not to impact people at night. And this is a unique situation where we have the school. So we will be working with our traffic engineering office on the allowable construction hours and take that into consideration, because the last thing we want to do is dump a bunch of school children out into a construction zone. So that's something that'll be incorporated into the contract. We got a question saying, will there be speed bumps installed? So there won't be any speed bumps installed in the state road. It's not something that we typically do. If there's speed bumps that are for a local road, we can talk to the town about that, but that's not something that we typically get into. So we got an email comment. A resident emailed in to the project email in regards to their support of the project. They also wondered about the possibility of adding sidewalks to the southbound side of Route 39. Great question. As we look at projects, we look at areas that we're doing any kind of work, we are always looking to improve mobility for all users. That includes bicyclists and pedestrians, whether we're scoping projects or even when we get the project and we're designing it. So it depends on how the job is initiated. So this particular job was initiated as a safety improvement to improve left turning movements at these two intersections. And so that's how it came down to us. And there wasn't a sidewalk component in the job when it was scoped, but nonetheless, we look at that and we assess as to whether or not sidewalks are warranted. Yeah, yes, there's a school here, so I asked my team to take a look at sidewalks and the feasibility of adding them. But it turns out there isn't anything to connect them to once they leave the school. There's no sidewalks to connect. So that's kind of strike one against adding them to this particular project. The next thing is there would be additional rights of way and additional impacts to private properties if we were to install sidewalks on either side of the roadway. In addition, I think there's a lot of existing stone walls, trees, and utilities that would also have to be relocated or addressed. So those are all factors that went into why we do not have sidewalks shown on the preliminary design plans right now. Not to say that they can't be added after if there's enough outcry, but there are pros and cons with adding of sidewalks. Question came in. It says, other than 1 foot, any anticipated work on the south side of Route 39 between Eastgate and Dogwood Drive? Andrew or Rich, would you guys mind answering that question? Well, I'm sorry, it says, excuse me, I'm at the west side of the road. I realize there will be trees cleared on the east side. So Andrew, Rich, could somebody maybe even pull up a PDF and maybe discuss the improvements in this particular area?
Yeah, sure, Mike. I can speak on that. Let me share my screen. Okay, if everyone can see this, could you just let me know what they were looking for again, Mike?
Yep. It says, the question says, other than the 1 foot, any anticipated work on the south or west side of Route 39 between Eastgate and Dogwood Drive?
Okay, sure, yeah.
So maybe just zoom into that area and just kind of show what's going on there.
Yeah, see here up at the top of the screen, we have Dogwood Drive, and down here in the bottom left, we have Eastgate Road. So as you can see by this yellow hashed area here on the northbound side and the southbound side, we have a little bit of widening up until these parts here. But then once we transition back into 2 lanes along Route 39 here, we're looking to match existing conditions as much as possible. So we will be mimicking the existing edges of road, and we might just be doing some slight grading on the southbound side of the road, but beyond that, there is not much being proposed in this area.
Thanks, Rich. Rich, while you still have that up, would you mind
Sure.
going to 44 Clapbridge Ridge Road? That's a call-in question. A resident of 44 Clapbridge Ridge Road has septic in the front yard and wants to know how that's going to be handled.
Sure.
So just pull that up and see if I can provide a response.
So 44 is this house right here.
Yep. So, so to provide a response, from what I'm seeing here, and we can verify this with a cross section in the design plans, is we do not expect to be doing any work on the private property except for regrading the existing driveway. So the widening that's happening on the roadway here has impacts to the front yard, albeit state on state right of way. So it would be unlikely that the septic is within the state right of way there. But we could verify that if that were a major concern, but I don't believe that it is. But we are repaving and regrading the entire driveway. So we probably would pull an as-built from where your septic is, or your septic system is, the tank and the leach field. You know, we could pull that information from the town. If you know where it is, our guys could find it, but it doesn't look like it's going to be impacted but I still don't know where it is. So it just doesn't look like it's going to be impacted, but we would verify that. We got a question. It says, if the state condemns property, does the property owner still get paid? I can answer that and say, yes, they do. But Jason, would you mind providing a little bit more detail on that process for anyone that's interested?
Yeah, absolutely. So once a valuation occurs, it's considered a registered value, and that offer is made to the property owner. If they can't reach an agreement and the state does file for eminent domain, that valuation amount is deposited into the court and the property owner can withdraw it. And you know, additional negotiations can occur, but at a minimum, that valuation amount is deposited in the court for the property owner. If an agreement can't be reached, then the property owner does have 6 months to file an appeal. And then at that point, you know, an argument can be made in front of the judge for additional compensation.
We got an email question in. It says, this presentation. Yes, Senator, you can get a copy. We will be posting, like I mentioned earlier, on the state's website. It'll be a YouTube video that everybody can watch. It'll include the comments from tonight's meeting. And also, you know, everything, the question and answer session, the whole shebang. And we also will be providing the city of Danbury a copy of the video so that they can post to their own website as well. We got a question from the chat. So with the current plan, no work will be done on the curve on Route 39 in front of Dogwood Drive. I believe the work that will be done, the work that will be done will just be resurfacing. There won't be any widening. There won't be significant grading, just really just resurfacing of the roadway. Did I get that right, guys?
Hey, Mike, yes, you did get that right. Just standard resurfacing and some slight grading.
We got a question from Colin asking how long construction will take. Construction will take probably about a year. It's expected to start in April 2022 and be done sometime before fall. The work is rather limited in terms of scope and scale, so we expect it to just take that one season. We got a question from the chat. It says, I would like to ask if they can bring the city utilities up from Farm Street so that residences can connect to city water and sewer. Andrew, would you mind talking about the scope and scale of the project and how it impacts or how it pertains to public utilities?
Yeah, sure, Mike. So this project scope is mainly a resurfacing project. As Rich was explaining a little earlier, we do have some minor widening, but mainly it's sticking to the roadway itself. We do have some utility work, but that's usually with the aerials. We are relocating some utility poles in Beckerle Street. There will be no underground work. So any city utilities are not included in this project. We are not digging that down deep down. And it's kind of beyond the scope of construction for this project as it pertains mostly to safety improvements to the two intersections.
Thank you, Andrew. I kind of want to mention at this time, we're still taking questions and we'll still be here to answer, but if there's anybody that maybe had trouble with the presentation tonight, hearing it, needs a little bit more personal, some questions, some personal touch where we can talk to you one-on-one over the phone, maybe go over stuff. If a property owner is impacted and feels they need to kind of go over stuff a little bit better than we can provide in tonight's presentation, I really encourage everyone to use the project email address to email us your contact information. We'd be so happy to chat with you over the phone, in a video conference, what have you. So we're open to addressing any concerns that you may have, taking any comments you have if you're not able to provide that comment to us tonight. There's 2 weeks that we have a comment period open. If things really start going crazy, we can extend that if need be to make sure that anybody's comments are addressed. I think you can talk to the city as well. Tim Nolan has been very helpful. Tom Alternate at the city of Danbury, we've been working with them. So if you have conversations with them, refer to Project 34351 and we'd be glad to help you. We had a question that came in from chat. It says, will there be future public informational meetings as this project moves forward along to the 100% completion of the plan? So just to kind of talk about our process. So early on in the design, we come up with plans up to about 30%. We take them to a point where the department is in the city are both on board with the proposal, and then the final piece is to get the public's input. From there, we'll be in constant coordination with the city, talking to the city about the improvements. If there were things that changed, like major changes to the plan, like if we were to shift the alignment for some reason that required the plan that we show you today to look significantly different, then we would come back out. But assuming the plan looks very much like it does today, there probably won't be another formal meeting like this. So we got a question from the chat. It says, between our driveway at 44 Clapboard and 42 Clapboard, our neighbors, we have a drain in the grass area currently draining on our property, which is about 25 feet off the roadway. Now, when we have a lot of rain or melting snow, it goes to the road. Will that be addressed? So thank you for your question. We'll have to take a closer look at that particular location and how the grading works. We may have to have a conversation. We'll take a look at that a little bit deeper, but we may have to have maybe a more personal conversation with you to see exactly what the is if our grading didn't pick it up, and see what the issue is. But we do have minor drainage work as part of this project, so it's something like that could be in the project scope. We wouldn't want to leave any puddles. We wouldn't want to create any puddles. We'd like to address the ones that are out there that we can, without chasing the scope of work too far. But we could have a further conversation on that. I'll make sure my guys are aware of that area that you're referring to. So thank you. We had a comment about thanking us for the presentation. We appreciate that. I'll just take the time, I'll take this moment to kind of mention that, again, if anyone came in late, Our comment period is open until August 12th. We encourage you to use the DOT project 0034-0351 @ct.gov email, or to use the voicemail 860-944-1111. If you want to email us your contact information, we'd be glad to give you a call back. We'd be glad to do a Teams call or a Zoom call with you, and you can explain to us if you have an issue, or maybe we could better explain something to you over that format where we can have that that one-on-one interaction. Question came in from chat. My house is at the corner of Beckerle and Clapboard Ridge on the southbound side. And I believe there's a second piece of that. Where'd it go? My property will be highly impacted. I would like to speak to somebody about my property. So we can pull the property up. And I think Rich has done that. Rich, is that right?
Yep, this is the property.
Rich, would you go over maybe some of the property impacts going on and the work that we're proposing?
Sure. Again, we kind of explained what things mean on our color plan here, but I can say it again. So this yellow hatched region is where we are proposing our widening. So this whole region currently is not roadway, but we will be expanding it to introduce this new turn lane. And because of this, we are going to need to do some regrading in front of the property here, which is indicated in this the brown shaded region. And again, all the regrading done, you know, we will replace the grass and everything. The brown is just to indicate its cut slope. And the grading is necessary because we have certain standards for how steep roadways are allowed to be, or side slopes are allowed to be right off of the roadway. So following those standards, that leads to the extent of the grading here. And additionally, since we're widening, we'll need to do something similar for the driveways. We will need to do a little bit of regrading on the driveways so that those, again, do not exceed the state standards for how steep a driveway can be. But aside from the driveway work, all of the grading being done is within state right-of-way. And that's pretty much the extent of what's going on here.
Hey, Rich, can you just zoom in just a little bit?
Sure. What in particular?
Zoom into the work that's being proposed along the edge of road. Yeah, we got a comment that said it was hard to see.
Okay. All right. Sure.
And like we mentioned earlier, we'd be happy to have a conversation after the meeting tomorrow or the next day about anything that you see here. If there's anything concerning, if the video format wasn't good, if the sound quality wasn't good. Like I was mentioned before, this is one of the first meetings that we've done in this format. So I appreciate everybody bearing with us. We like to kind of be in a room and have that conversation with any property owners that are affected to really explain the impacts. It's kind of hard to tell in a plan view, and we understand. So we could even meet outside at any particular property owner who feels they're impacted. We can meet at the property. We can describe what's being done maybe better in the field. So we're willing to do that as well. We got a comment that came in, says, can you repeat how to access the YouTube recording of the meeting? So the same way you access the meeting tonight through the project webpage, the YouTube link will be posted there after the meeting, as will a link to the demographic survey that pertains to tonight's meeting, how we did for outreach, how we did to meet your needs. Typically we ask questions about, was the building accessible to you? Obviously we're in a different world right now. We're in a virtual world. We're doing a virtual meeting, and we'd like to have some feedback on that as well. So we'd appreciate that. And so it's the project webpage. Let me just pull up my notes so I get it right again. I can spell it out for you. The project webpage, http:// the word portal, portal.cal.ct.gov/DOT DANBURY 34-351. That's portals.ct.gov/DOT Danbury 34-351. So same way you got to the meeting tonight, you should be able to get to the YouTube. So I just want to let everybody know that we will be here to answer questions until 9 o'clock. So it's up to people if they want to stay on the call or on the meeting. It's up to them. But we'll be here if any questions comes in that. But we want to thank everybody so far that's been asking questions. We really appreciate them. I appreciate the design team and the city of Danbury for all the hard work putting this together. It's definitely been a challenge and something new for us. Any comments on how to improve would be great. We really do appreciate that as well. And like I mentioned before, send the project email address an email with your contact information, and it'd probably be easier for us to just contact you individually. It'd be probably more effective. But we'll be here. But I wanted to thank everybody for coming tonight. We really appreciate it. Just want to let everybody know I've posted a link to the survey that's going to be on our website. So anybody that can see the chat and wants to click on it and take the survey now, we'd appreciate that. Otherwise, you can find it on the website and take it at your convenience. So we got a question from the chat. How far does the 1 foot widening go further south? Does it extend all the way? Does it extend all the way to Beckerle? Rich, do you mind pulling the plan up and we can go over that?
Sure.
Rich, you want to try to zoom in as close as you can and just kind of show that yellow hatch that's kind of tough to see in the area that's in question?
Yeah, sure. First, I'll just zoom out for a second, just so you can see, here's Eastgate Road, over to the left of my screen. And when we said 1 foot widening, it's about 1 foot. It's not exactly 1 foot all the way through. But if we have the intersection here, we have this little sliver of widening coming through the intersection. And then after the intersection, we're going to begin transitioning back down to 2 lanes. And we'll need another little sliver of widening here to make that happen. And then this is where the widening ends as far as the Eastgate Road portion of the project is concerned. After this point here, there's no more widening until we get to the Beckerle Street intersection.
Thanks, Rich. I hope that answered the question. Just in case anybody popped into the question and answer session late, there's 3 ways to post a question or have a comment. You can use the MS Teams chat window. Should be on your top right, depending on what kind of browser you're using or device you're using. There's the project email, which is dotproject 0034-0351 @ct.gov. You can call the project voicemail line at 860-944-1111. The comment period, you can email or place a voicemail all the way up until August 12th. Like I mentioned at an earlier time, if you send us a project email after August 12th, we'll probably take into consideration. So it's not really a super hard date, but that's what we're posting. We have a survey that's on our website. I posted a link into the chat. It's also it's a SurveyMonkey survey, and basically what it is just to kind of tell us how this meeting format went, make sure we did our outreach accordingly, and that we met our Title VI requirements to treat all people equally. Let's see what else. The meeting will be posted. A recorded version of the meeting will be posted on the project website as well. The same way you got access to this event. Head to the project website at portal.ct.gov/DOT Danbury 34-351. And you can find lots of information there about the project, and we'll be posting the recording and the survey will be there as well. I think what I'll do is maybe I'll just, since we haven't had a new question in a little bit, I think I'll just kind of have a last call for questions. You can submit a question through project email, the voicemail, the chat window, and just again, really to reiterate that the question and comment period will be open through August 12th. And so either of those any of those venues except the Teams chat, because that'll be closed, we'll be able to get your comments and your questions answered. And again, I mentioned earlier, I think it's important if you want a little bit more personal experience, give us your contact information and we'll be glad to contact you over the phone. We can meet you at your property, you know, what have you. So kind of with that, I'm going to do a last call on questions, and maybe at 8:30, if there's nothing new, we'll kind of call the event then. Thanks. Okay, so it's 8:30. No new questions came in, so I think it's appropriate to end tonight's event. I want to thank everybody that participated. I want to thank the City of Danbury, Mayor Boughton, and the design team for putting together the presentation. Again, the project webpage is the best way to find all the information that you need moving forward. The email address will be there, the voicemail, the plans, the description of the project, the presentation, the recording of the presentation will be there. So you can find that project webpage the same way that you got to this meeting tonight. That is http:// the word portal, portal.ct.gov/DOT Danbury, DANBURY 34-351. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a good night.